It all started after the Battle of Adam. Now, Sarah has been in charge of the council for quite a long time now. However, she kept a major secret from everyone, then lost a battle and lost lives of people who were born in heaven. And not only that, but people who went to heaven, human lives. That was not going to look good for Sarah. As one day, Sarah would go in as they were having a meeting. Sarah would say, "What is this about?" As the other council members would say, "This is your impeachment hearing." Impeached? What? "We no longer want you on this council." Sarah would say, "That's heresy. How could you do this?" As Emily would say, "Well, you did lie to everyone about extermination and keep something from everybody, but I had the authority to. You can't just impeach me. You can't just..." They would say silence, as they would yell at Sarah. Tell her how she cost people their lives. Tell her how she led heaven to ruin. And now, someone has actually been redeemed, so they don't need to exterminate people. They don't need her leadership. As the trial went on, Sera was impeached and no longer allowed on the council. As this irritated Sera more than anything, she still stayed in heaven, but she was unpopular and distrusted and even hated. And the people who were once on her side were no longer there. The only person she had was loot, but that wasn't enough. And as the days passed, her name was tarnished more and more until she couldn't handle it anymore. Sera was tired of this. She was tired of being looked down upon. She was known as a warmonger. She was known as someone who destroys other people's lives, all behind people's backs, just to lose a battle. She couldn't take it anymore, as she was allowed in heaven, but she didn't have any political power anymore. She just walked around. Never before has a seraphim been dethroned like this and not thrown in hell. They only kept her here for sentimental reasons, and because some of the old-fashioned exorcists still liked her. It was a compromise, but Sera couldn't do it anymore, as she decided to do the unthinkable and go to hell. She knows what this means. If she went to hell, she could never come back, but she had to. She had to get away from these people. As she flew down to hell, suddenly, her wings would turn black, her dress would turn red, her eyes would turn yellow as she became demonic. As then she would walk the streets, not really knowing what to do. But as she walked the streets, someone would mistake her for something else. As she looked like, I can't say the word, but let's just say someone who gets paid for interesting jobs. As an imp would give her some money, she would look at him and punch him as he fell to the floor. As then she walked off. As she kept on looking for something to do, some place to live. But she didn't know what to do, so she just flew on top of a building and looked up, unsure of her life as she just slept there. The next day, she would wake up and start to walk around as someone familiar walked up to her. It was Camilla Carmine. "Sera, I never thought I would see you here." As she looked, she said, "Did I know you?" As in it came to her. "Wait, you were that woman who brought our daughters to hell. Why would you go down to a place like this?" She could say, "I would ask the same for you." As in Sera would sigh and say, "That's different. They all hated me up there. How do you think I felt? I was religious. I believed that heaven was the way. But as soon as I got up there, I saw nothing but bureaucracy. I saw nothing but a counselor that didn't care about me. No heavenly kingdom, no great and caring God. Just some theocracy that put themselves above me." As Sera would think, maybe that's what she was. Maybe she could change, though. She didn't know. Everything was so different now. She sighed. As in Camilla Carmine would say, "Do you need a place to stay?" She would say, "Yeah, you can stay with me." As Sera would stay with Camilla Carmine. Sera would be disappointed with herself. As she started to learn the horrors of what she did, she agreed to it just to keep heaven safe. But as she saw these sinners, she realized something. These weren't people coming to destroy her. These weren't people trying to build some evil thing they wanted. But this is what they desired. They simply desired to be themselves. They simply desired to live. And this would start to haunt Sera. As she stayed with Camilla Carmine, the days would pass. As she became more silent, as guilt creeped up inside of her, she knew what she needed to do. Sera would go to the Has-Been Hotel and knock on the door. As Charlie opened it, she couldn't believe it. It was Sera, but she looked different. Charlie said, "You came down here, but why?" I was impeached, lost all my power, but then I came down here because I couldn't stand the sight of myself. No one could. And no one really knows me down here except for you and a few higher power-ups. But honestly, I wanted to say something. Charlie got ready to fight, as she thought she would be angry. After all, thanks to her, she didn't really have a job anymore, and she was forced to come down here. As then Sera said, I'm sorry for what I have done. You all were so innocent, even if you made mistakes. What have I done? As Sera would start to sing, Vaggie would sigh and say, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you can stay here. Sera would say, I already have a home with Carmine. Sera would say, as Vaggie would be shocked. She couldn't believe this. Sera was living with Carmilla Carmine. The Carmilla Carmine? Vaggie would say, how? Are you two a thing? Sera would blush and say, no, I don't like girls. As she walked off, but Carmilla Carmine was quite attractive. Sera would then go back there. As she would stay there, eventually Carmilla Carmine would say, you need to find your own path. You need to become an overlord and get a job. Sera would say, why? Because you're just laying down here depressed all day. It's starting to make me mope. Sera would sigh as she got up. She's been in a constant state of slightly, depression. And also, she's been trying to figure out what to do with her life. As she would go for a job, she would decide to visit Rosie. As Rosie was enjoying her meal, she walked in, and Rosie said, you look powerful. Are you a fallen angel? I'm more than just that, Sera would say, or at least I used to be, as she sighed. Do you have a job opening? Emily... As Sera would be off, Sera would become an overlord just to get a job. Because, she really could control the world, but she didn't really want to do that, because what's the point in that? She just wanted a stable life and a place of her own, so she owned a couple businesses here and there, just enough to get by, and just enough to live a fancy life. As Sera, that was her one way of clinging on to heaven, living in a nice house in a fancy place, but that was it. And as she could tell, there was no more exterminations. She watched as the sinners, the people that she thought she hated, the people that she thought she must destroy, were now her best friends. Everything was so different. As one day she would get a knock on the door. As she opened it, it was Emily. Sera was in total shock as she saw Emily. As Sera would say, what's going on, Emily? As Emily would say, well, you see... Guess what? What? I'm here to visit you. People down here are getting redeemed, and I heard you just fell off. I didn't know what you did, so I tracked you down. I'm proud of what you did. You haven't hurt anyone. You've started a new life down here. I'm sorry that I shunned you. That wasn't right. Can we still be friends? Emily and Sera shook hands and said, who's the leader now? Me. And I lead kind of a redemption arc, and everyone there is kind of happy now. But Loot still misses you, and some of the older ones do too. Funny though. If they ever come back down again, they might have to fight you. Sera would say, that won't happen. I know the hotel would succeed. As then they both hugged each other. As Sera and Emily spent a nice time together, Sera started to get her life together, and she started to enjoy her demonic life. Less responsibilities, but she still had friends here. She still had a job, and she still had people to take care of. It seemed like things were turning around for her. Things turned around for heaven. Things turned around for hell. And it seems like anyone can change. Anyone can turn over a new leaf. And that includes Sera, even when she's in hell. And that's going to leave things off. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And please let me know what you thought of the video in the comments below. I really enjoyed making it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Because I think that this is a very, very unlikely scenario, but it is technically possible, considering that heaven lost a battle, and it's proven that people can be redeemed, and Sera legit hid evidence that they were committing, certain type of crimes, I can't say on YouTube, against sinners. So, that's a lot of bad things. So, yeah, people in heaven might want to get rid of her. And I'm pretty sure that might happen if Sera doesn't change her mind. Which I have a feeling Sera might change her mind, but if not, I feel like people in heaven are going to get rid of her somehow. I don't know about banishment. I don't know about civil war. I don't know about what, but we barely ever seen heaven, and heaven's not really a kingdom. It's ran by a council, where Sera's the leader of the council. So maybe she'll get voted out, or maybe she'll try to stay in power, or maybe she'll try to become a queen, and that'll get her destroyed. Who knows? Who really knows? And we haven't really seen God yet. And yeah, I don't think he'll ever appear in the show because, it'll be too controversial. Besides, heaven's pointed as the villain, so if God appeared, he would have to be a villain. And making God a villain, I'm pretty sure they're not going to do, for obvious reasons. Not just for religious reasons, but because people will be mad at the show. Then again, maybe if they did that, they might get more viewers, so who knows? Who knows? I don't think they would do it, especially since, Hell of a Boss would probably do it. I think because they're a YouTube show, so they don't have to worry about as many sponsors and stuff. But Hazbin Hotel, I don't think they would do that. I think too many people pull their sponsorship out. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Do you think they would do it? And if God appeared in the show, what role would you want him to play? What kind of a character would you want him to be? Would you want him to be a villain? Would you want him to be a hero, an anti-hero? Maybe depressed like Lucifer? Maybe, some funny guy? How would you want him to be? Would you want him to be like the Christian God or like something different? Tell me. Tell me in the comments below. Anyway, hope you're all having a good day. My day has been quite interesting. I'm excited for Wednesday. I'm not gonna lie. Wednesday, I'm gonna enjoy myself. And next November 5th, I think, yeah, November 5th, I'm traveling to see family. I'm gonna go on a plane. So yeah, and there's a big event going on November 5th. I'm not gonna tell you, but I'm pretty sure you all know. So I'm not gonna really know who wins until I land, because I'm gonna be on a plane with no Wi-Fi. So yeah, it's not, it's that type of channel, so I'm not gonna tell you who I want to win. But let's just say if someone I doesn't want to win wins, I'm gonna be upset. Anyway, love you all so much. Thank you for watching my content. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for liking, comment, and supporting me. And don't forget to check out my shorts, because I make some pretty good shorts, and the shorts are pretty important. So yeah, check out my shorts. Peace out. Love you all.